My name is Vanessa Moore. I'm a member of the AACCES History and Recognition Committee, and I'm here this afternoon with Mr. Thomas Moore to speak with him a little bit about his experiences living in the Tri-Cities and working out at the Hanford Site. How are you doing, Tommy?
Fine.
Good. Just have a few questions we'd like to ask you. And first of all, when did you come to this area? When did you arrive in the Tri-Cities?
Some parts of 39.
That's very early.
Yeah, I don't remember just what month. That was a long time ago, you know.
Mm-hmm. Did you come alone, or did someone come out
one
with you?
fella come with me.
Okay, could I get his name?
Golly, I don't remember.
It's been a long time, hasn't it? About how old were you at that time?
19.
19 years old. Now, where'd you live before coming here?
Corpus Christi, Alice, Texas.
Alice, Texas. Is that where you're originally from?
Mm-hmm.
And why did you decide to come? How'd you hear about it?
Well, this friend of mine, that he was a cook, and he told me that about the job,
Mm-hmm.
and that they was paying $1 an hour for cooks in Washington.
How'd that compare to where you lived?
$17 a week, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Wow. So it looked pretty good, sounded pretty good.
Yeah, it sounded okay. Yeah.
So you and he came together?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. And did you come and do that type of work?
No.
Once you
No.
got here?
No, it didn't.
Let me back up just a little bit. How did you travel to the Tri-Cities or to Hanford at that time?
For Hanford, we come on the bus, but
From Alice?
From Alice we come on freight.
Oh, on the freight train?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And what made it so bad was that he smoked. And we were both hungry. But he had double troubles. He wanted a cigarette and then he wanted food too. I just was hungry.
It's a long ride, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Now, once you arrived here, where was the first place you stayed? Were there relatives or?
No, we didn't have there's no relatives here.
No?
No, with that, we got off the freight in Pasco at that old depot down there.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't stay here long. We just stayed. We just was hoboing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's no place to live or nothing. You know.
No.
And you got out of there first as fast as you could, and we went to Seattle. And when I went to Seattle, I got a room at the Jackson Hotel.
Okay, so this was in 1939, and this was sort of just a stopover, and you kept on going.
On the way.
Okay, so really
Seattle.
you were headed for Seattle when you left Texas.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I understand. At some point or other, though, you ended up back in this area.
In 1949, in December, that I can remember good. In December 1949, I come to look at a restaurant, cocktail lounge and everything that I purchased, the Pullet Palace.
The Pullet Palace?
That was the name of it. Yeah.
Okay, and where was that located?
On Lewis Street.
So in Pasco here.
Okay.
And you had mentioned to me prior to the interview that you did some work. You did do some work out at Hanford with regards to surveying. Can you tell me about that?
Oh yes, that we was working with my job was I drove a Jeep, and we had a concrete on a sled.
Mm-hmm.
And when surveyors would put a stake down, I'd have to come along and take it back and dig it up and put a little concrete in there and put the stake back, because when the wind blows so bad, the stake would blow all the way around, and it was a little hard to blow that little water concrete that I had put the stake in. Yeah.
Tommy, when you were working on the railroad with the surveyors, about what year was that?
That I don't exactly remember, but I'm thinking that it was in 42 or a little later.
Okay.
Could have been a little later, but that was at the Hanford Site, the E.I. Dew Point.
E.I. DuPont.
Oh, that's
okay.
that was the
Oh,
name
that's
of it.
right.
We all knew that he made shotgun shells, but we didn't know that he was making. Nobody knew he was making atomic bomb. Man.
Wow. They didn't tell you too much about that, did they?
No.
And so how did you feel about working at Hanford? Were there big crews, a lot of other blacks, or just a few?
It was quite a few. Mm-hmm. We had, that I don't remember too well, but if I'm not mistaken, we had our own mess hall when we finally got a mess hall. But before that, we was eating at a basement in the little town of Hanford.
The town of Hanford.
Yeah.
So there was
eating down in the basement then.
So eventually, then there was a separate mess hall for the blacks and separate ones from the rest.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, I have heard that.
Yeah, I don't know for sure.
Now, on the job, do you feel you were treated all right? Can you tell us about that?
Everything went fine. Oh, everything okay.
And I have to ask you this: what was the hardest thing to adjust to when you first starting out here? Obviously, you came from a different state. You came from doing different type of work. What was the hardest adjustment for you?
There was no hard adjustments. We just went along with the flow.
Just go with the flow?
Yeah.
Everything worked out all right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Separate from work, what did you and your friends and coworkers do after hours?
Well, sometime we would play baseball, and when we was working out on the Hanford Site, you know. And one time I remember that there was no women there, you know.
When you came, there were no women?
No women. No, it was just all men.
So you had to find something to do.
And what happened, we was having a baseball game one Sunday, and a lady showed up with her husband that got hurt, and we broke up the game because everybody wanted to go look at her.
Did they get ordered back and finish the game?
No, we was playing on our own.
Is that right?
That's the truth. We broke up the whole game.
Is that right? Now I understand there was a baseball field out there.
Yes,
Is that right?
But I don't know. I don't remember exactly whether that was the field we was playing on or not. But it wasn't.
How long did you stay and work at Hanford?
I really don't know that either. But
months, years?
I time checked. That's what they referred to it then, and went back to Seattle.
Time checked. Can you tell me what that means?
And you just turn in your time and everything and quit.
Oh,
so
okay.
what you say, time checking, they called it.
And then you returned to Seattle? Okay. And so then it was a later date that you came back again to open the
Yeah,
Pullet
49.
Palace.
In December, I come back to purchase the place in December 49.
Okay. So you were one of the, if not the first black-owned business in the Tri-Cities, it sounds like.
I was.
That's great. That's great.
And my family was the first of doing almost everything in the Tri-Cities. My daughter was the first, Shirley was the first one to work at the U.S. Bank as a teller.
This is your daughter, Shirley?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then my wife was the first one was a check-in at a Safeway store. And my other daughter was, my baby daughter was the first one to win Miss Tri-Cities.
Wow.
Yeah.
Some accomplishments in your
It
family.
really went well. Everything we went to pretty good.
Since we're talking about family, tell me a little bit more about that. Maybe your other children or businesses that you've had, things that you've done since those days.
Since from then or before then?
Since then.
Since then? Well, I left from the Pullet Palace and went over and opened up her pool hall. And from the pool hall,
That's okay. You can just go ahead and hold that in your hand.
and from the pool hall, I just worked and come on until in 1969 I worked 8 years for Chuck Ackerblade for in the scrap business, $2 an hour. And then I opened my own place.
Scrap business also?
1969.
Scrap business as well?
Yeah, scrap business in 1969. I worked for him just to learn the business.
Uh-huh.
And then I've been in that for the last 32 years.
So that's brought you a long way. And that's a thriving business here in the Tri-Cities, isn't it?
Well, it holds its own.
Yeah. Any of your children still in the area? And tell us a little bit about them.
Well, my son works with me. He started working with me when he could walk.
Probably not working too hard at that time.
No, but he started following me when he could walk, and he's been following me ever since, you know. And I got one daughter here and one daughter in Seattle. One son in San Diego and a daughter in Chicago.
Mm-hmm. But you've chosen to stay here.
Oh, I have to come to cash in here.
Long time ago since Texas, isn't it? Okay, Tommy, I really do appreciate your time and the information. And you mentioned, I'm going to take us back a little bit because I neglected to ask you this, that they didn't really tell you what everyone was working on out there. Did you have an idea? Did you suspect what it was?
No, the only thing we knew that E.I. DuPont made shotgun shells. Now that we knew. And that was all that everybody talked about. So when you compare it to what, it had to be something explosive, you know.
At least that much.
Because the fellow that was with the shotgun business and the shell business
was in charge.
Something,
sure.
You know.
Sure.
But we didn't, nobody knew. Yeah.
Okay.
You just do what you was told and get off and go back to the barracks.
And go back to the barracks. Now, you did live in the barracks for a while, or?
Oh yeah, I when I was living in the barracks and when I time checked, I did.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about what that was like? I mean, did they have rules like military barracks, or this was just the housing?
It was just two men to the room, and this was nothing. You didn't have no laws or nothing, nothing like that. You just went on, and then the full barracks, and then a wash house in the center.
It was attached to it, or?
Yeah, there was full units, but then in the while they attached together, that's where the showers was, the showers and the bathrooms and all that stuff.
Oh, okay, and
then from that to the mess hall
for eating. So pretty much.
So you really didn't need anything else, you know.
It's kind of like a little town.
I don't know. They fed good.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Solid meals. Huh? Okay. Well, thank you very much. If there are names of others who worked out there, we'd like to know who those people were and maybe talk with them.
I can't remember nothing in that far back.
Okay. Well, if something comes to you, let me know. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tommy, you mentioned before that you came to Washington State from Alice, Texas, and I was curious about the type of work that you did in Alice.
I was a cook at a restaurant. First I started out as a dishwasher for $5 a week and worked on up till I got cooked. But the reason why they wouldn't give me a cooking job because I'd have to take a job as dishwasher, because the restaurants was hard. They didn't want to lose any of their customers. And for a young kid as young as I was, they wouldn't hire you as a cook. But when the cooks, all cooks drank quite a bit. So when a cook showed up, if a cook didn't show up because he was drunk, then I'd get in the kitchen and start from dishwashing and go to on the grill.
So you were cooking anyway.
Yeah, and then I'd get the job. Yeah, that's about it. And then that 12 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And what kind of wages?
Oh, it's the most I ever made was $17.
$17 a week, is that correct? Okay. And so then you had heard that in Washington State
it was paying $1 an hour.
For the same type of work?
Yes, and I had a 1935 convertible Packard. I bought it in '37, and they had a Plymouth,
Mm-hmm.
yellow with a black top, $875, and I wanted to come and get it. Now, 1940.
So you were motivated, is what
Yeah,
you're telling
that's
me.
right. I wanted to come in and trade my link with my packet in and get that Plymouth.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Tommy, there was a period of years between you leaving Hanford and leaving this area and then coming back later on to purchase the Pullet Palace. What were you doing during that time and where did you live?
Well, I lived at the Jackson Hotel, and then
This is in Seattle?
in Seattle, and then I was working for George Crawford Smith at a restaurant. He didn't know anything about a restaurant, but he had the money to buy it. So I went to work for him, and then after a length of time, I worked for him about a year and a half, I bought my own place. And he,
Still in the Seattle area?
yes,
I see.
and he said that I wouldn't make it. So I told him, I said, well, Mr. Smith, you were 48 years old before you make it, and I'm 21. I can go in and out of business a long time before I get 48 and still make it. So that's life.
Mm-hmm. Did you spend any time in the military at all over your career?
Yes, and I had volunteered for the Army Transfer Service, and I don't exactly know how many years I was in that, but I made 22 trips to Japan, 8 trips to Hawaii, and 8 trips to Jensen, Korea.
You've been all around.
Yeah, I went more further in overseas than I have in the United States.
Wow. Where were you stationed when you were in the service?
Bremerton.
Bremerton,
Mhm.
Washington?
Yes.
Okay. So you've covered a lot of this state too,
But not too bad.
not to mention the world. Well, Mr. Moore, we appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Okay.